You know how every time you look at a company's website or you hear a founder talk about their company, it's always this grand mission, right? It almost sounds like they were selected by the gods to come forth and do this huge important thing, you know. Well, that's mostly fake. Um, and the more you sort of work on different companies and get to know people that work on companies, I would say that you realize that that's not necessarily true. And so today I wanted to talk about the real reasons that people start companies, and why you should perhaps consider starting one too. So a little bit about myself. I'm starting a company right now. I've been working on something for 5 months now, and I'm getting close to launch. The company and product is called Omni One, and it's a whole food foundational health supplement. Um, it's the first sort of blend that combines organ like beef organs, colostrum, probiotics, specific kind called soil-based probiotics, electrolytes, and also different mushrooms and adaptogens. So it's like a full, complete blend that you take instead of taking a bunch of different supplements if you're into health like me. Um, and it's gonna taste great. So that's awesome. I'm gonna share a bunch of things around this, around starting this company here on YouTube. So this is the first video. um, Before I did what I'm doing now, I actually started another company. It was also in the health space. This was several years ago, and we just sold that like a half, yeah, 6 months ago or something like that. But there is, it's not what it sounds like. I would say. I started that with a very much a noble mission in mind. I wanted to help people fight chronic disease through lifestyle changes, essentially. I was very passionate about that. I still am. Like, I think one of the core things about me is that I think we as a species have really lost a lot of our potential, and because of many of the aspects of modern living, we are suffering a lot from it, you know. And that's something that really drives me, and it drove me then to start that business. um, but we worked on it several years. It was like this really complicated digital platform for sort of guiding people through lifestyle changes. It was a classic mistake of building a product and then trying to find a problem, or like a specific problem, because the product was so broad. And so we could never really, we made several pivots. We had some revenue all the like throughout the time we worked on it, but we could never get it to really uh, take off, you know. And in the end, we did manage to sell the business, but not for a huge sum or anything like that. But at least it lives on. um, but the lesson was that, like, at the end there, it was kind of not that fun to work on, and you realized more and more that this noble mission, when you don't succeed essentially to the extent that you want to, or to the at the level you want to, um at least for me, it really became obvious that that was not the main reason I had started that company, even though I had convinced myself that was the reason. This is actually pretty common. I think it would be like, if we would have succeeded, you know, like some are lucky and succeed the first time they try something big, but if we would have succeeded, uh, I think that it would have been easy to have this like survivorship bias and say that, like, oh, it's like working on a big mission is the best. You just do that, and then you also get paid a lot of money, and it's great, you know. But for most people, that's not how it works. It's like really, really hard most of the time to solve these big, meaningful problems. Um, And if you fail, you don't really get anything except for a lot of really valuable experience, of course, which I'm super grateful for. But it did lead me to want to talk about this, and I was actually inspired by one of the podcasts that I listened to called My First Million. So shout out to Sean and Sam, who are the hosts of that podcast. And Sean specifically, they talk about that a lot. How, yeah, people basically make up this story retrospectively of like why they started their company and why it was so meaningful and they wanted to change the world and everything. And it's usually just bullshit, you know. So it's actually kind of cool to be able to acknowledge or actually talk openly about the real reasons why you start your business, I think. And there's this quote from Paul Graham, the legendary sort of startup person. He started Y Combinator and other things. There's this quote saying that he literally just says, "I started via web because I wanted to get rich," or something like that. And yes, I just think it's cool to be able to talk about it in that way. And so, what are the real reasons to start a company? Like, why did I start this thing that I'm working on now? If I'm being honest, the main reason is that I want to get rich, but it's not that simple. Like, it's if you've just read some philosophy or you've had some time in your life to think things through, you realize that money in itself is not that meaningful. It's really good for solving problems, but it's not it's not the end that you're sort of aiming for. What it really is captured well by this other tweet that I found from the founder of Indie Hackers. And it's really just about improving your situation. Because if you sort of fulfill your potential and you improve your situation in terms of money and just like your yeah, just like you become a better person overall, you become successful and all of that. I think that's how you improve the world, essentially. If everyone just improve themselves, they are then in a position to help others to do better things for the world. And so that is the real reason I want to do this. And also just to like get out of the being dependent on a salary at some point and yeah, just to be free to create the things that I want to create. Like it's I think everyone can probably relate to that. But then the second reason I'm doing it is kind of where the mission comes in, because of the reason, like because of the person I am, I basically can't force myself to make money in an unethical way. That's just the way I am. If I were someone else, I could have literally just robbed a bank, to get rich. Like that's literally what some, not that many, but like a very small percentage of people, that's what they do to get rich. But the thing about me and a lot of other people, like you don't want to do something that is bad for others or bad for the world. So you then sort of have those constraints. You want to get rich, but you want to do it in an ethical way. And so you kind of then have to find a mission, like a something that improves the world, improves life for other people. And also like just the way to get rich is to create value for other people. That's just how it works. And so that's where my mission comes in, and I want to help people eat better, essentially, or like get the nutrition that will make them feel good every single day. Um, that's what I want in my life, and I want other people who are equally, ambitious and sort of excited about attacking life and just, having an epic life. I want other people like that to have that too. Um, and so that's my mission. But as I just said, it's not the main reason I'm starting the company. And then the last reason, I would say, there are probably more reasons, but like um, the last sort of main reason I would say is to have a channel for my ambition. Because if you're a certain type of person, you can probably relate to this. Like, I've always had this insane like drive, that like there's nothing more miserable than a very ambitious person who does not have any project, any sort of outlet to direct that ambition. That's just a recipe for depression and, worse things than that. And so if you're a certain type of person who's very ambitious, you just have to have something that you pour your everything you have into, essentially. And that's what I wanted to create with this. Like, I had some time to think when it was clear that we were gonna sell my last company. I just really asked myself, like, what do I want to do? I need something like this that I have had for these several years, and it needs to be better in certain ways as well. So yeah, those are the real reasons to start a company. I hope this was somewhat interesting. I promise you, these videos will get better. I plan to put out at least one a week, where I just share everything I learn about starting a company in this like e-com space, which is actually new to me. It's not what I did before. And yeah, so please subscribe and like this video so that the algorithm picks it up and all of that. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.